Hello, this is Shauna with Soymilkmuse, and today I have got day 4 and 5, or I should say December 4th and December 5th of Dephemerember. And it was, let's see, a postcard or hand machine sewing with hand or machine sewing. So I did this one, and I sewed around the edge with the sewing machine, and it's got vellum and die cuts and ribbon around the edge, lots of stamping, and the journal card and tiny letters. And I thought to do tiny letters rather than, you know, like type, but little letters. I thought it was pretty cute. And of course there's small letters as well compared to the size of the journal card. But anyway, those are the two that I did. And I think for the compartmental making, I want to make a whole bunch of the little tiny letters, you know, in like different colors and stuff, and having things that you can actually pull out and use. Like this one actually unfolds quite a bit, so it could be written on. I think they're kind of cute. It's like a tumbling stack of letters. And even this teeny tiny one. I'm not sure I could do one any smaller than that, but it's got a little piece of, it's a little bit heavier weight paper so that I can actually get it in and out of the envelope, but they were super fun to make. So let's start with the postcard and hand or machine sewing. So I did a bunch. I had this 250 GSM photo paper that will not go through my printer. Or actually, this is the 230 that usually my printer will take, but this time it didn't. And I had several sheets that are slightly damaged. I don't know if you can see that right there. Because the printer didn't want them. So what better way to use them than to play with them with inks and fun things. So I kind of just let these dry on the desk, and I found that the mica stain spray did not want to stay on this particular photo paper. So there's a bit of a shimmer there, but it's not the oxidation, and most of the shimmer came off when I wiped it down. So I just went over it with like a dry baby wipe and, you know, rubbed it until it wasn't just going to come off when you touch them. But I have the small one here, and I thought for this one, do something really simple. And I just need to decide which side I want to use, because I was thinking I would like this to go with, whoopsie, one of these two journals I'm working on. This is a little set, and I'm kind of focusing on the emerald green, which this actually was an emerald green spray that I made with watercolor, liquid watercolor. But the pinky orangey color, it's supposed to be peach, it's kind of on the orangey side. But this side I got some of the green. I'm not sure if that was forest moss or maybe it was bubbling cauldron from Distress Inks. I'm not sure. So maybe I want to cover this side and then have this the writing side. I might want to do that. So that's kind of I was working with colors to go with a few journals that I'm in the process of making, because it makes more sense for me personally to make things for the journals that I'm currently doing. So like this one would be for the fairy journal. It's kind of a dark forest fairy journal I'm working on, that I've probably been working on this for a year. But yeah, it's got lots of stamping and torn pages and kind of the really grungy look, so I thought it would be cool in there. So I'm actually going to tuck that right in there. And then the purple one, I thought for this journal, which is like a Amazon bubble mailer, and then I did collaged fabric scraps that I had. This is some muslin that I dyed, and then this was from when I was making masks. You can almost see like there's the the outline of the mask there. And to me, it looked like a tree. So I did some stenciling with archival ink and got the tree with the bird. And yeah, so anyway, I think the little purple journal card will go good in here. Kind of the black, grungy, but kind of fun too, kind of naturey. So we'll put her right in there. And moving on to this one, put that in there too. Oops. So this side for writing, I'm going to use, wherever I put it, my archival ink. And I have this, I don't know if you can see it through the block. It's a little postcard stamp that came in this kind of generic stamp set that I got on Amazon. I have no clue what brand or who manufactured it. I've had it for a while, but it's got some of my favorite stamps in that set. So let's do this. Trying to make this quick. It's evening and I'm taking a minute to get into my groove here. It's been a kind of a long day and, you know, didn't sleep well and that kind of thing. So let's see. Get over it and see if I can get it kind of centered. Yeah, it's probably gonna be pretty wonky. Oh, that's not bad actually. Not bad at all. Not bad. Okay. And then what do we want to put on the others? Well, yeah, we'll put something to write on the other side, I think. This will be the decorative part. And the other side, let's see, for that journal, what have I got going on? I think I have painted book page in this part of the journal. Yeah, so this is an altered book actually. So there's painted book page. I could even use some of the paint rather than actually using a piece of paper. But let's see if we've got anything that might go. Maybe a scrap of this. Is it big enough? That might actually work. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. If we come in maybe here. Let's see. Whoops. This was a scrap from some punching I did. There's still a tiny bit left there. Let's kind of see. Whoops. Trim it up just a little bit here. Maybe there. Let's trim this down a little bit more, make it a bit wonky. Yeah, that's kind of cool. If I tear that edge, I think it'll be okay. So, or should we do it this way? Oh, that will work better, won't it? Okay, I'm gonna tear this, just 'cause I like the look of the torn paper. How much of it do we need? Maybe here. What was I using to ink that, or was I? That's the other question. Excuse me. Woo-hoo. Let's kind of look at both of them. I think I might have used Vintage Photo to ink that. Looks like Vintage Photo to me. And I think I have it out right here. No, it's walnut stain. Oh, dang. Well, let me find my Vintage Photo real quick. 1 second. Reach over behind me. scorched timber one on there. I put Velcro on the bottom of my pads, and then I have cardstock in between each pad on the shelf so that it doesn't get the other color on top of the next ink pad. All right. My vintage photo used to get a lot of use, and then I discovered the scorched timber when that came out, and I finally got that in the mail. I really like it. But it's maybe a bit dark for this journal, so for these journals. Okay. Oops, maybe a little bit on the front too, huh? I went through a bunch of postcards that I have in my stash because I was thinking, oh, it'd be fun to just, you know, alter something I have. But I have a hard time doing that, like with especially the antique ones. I kind of just like to use those as they are rather than doing things to them. Yeah, there we go. Oh, got a little ink on there, that's okay. It can be extra grungy. Do I want any lace on there? I don't know, but I can do that later. So we're just gonna glue this on, and I'm gonna use our glitter glue since this is photo paper underneath. So I was going through my postcards. I found a couple that were duplicates. They were just big packages that I thrifted, and some of them were very emotional to look through. Just feelings, all the feelings, you know. So actually, that was yesterday. It took me a day to come back to it. After that, I ended up going shopping to one of our local stores that I knew there was a booth that at least used to have a whole bunch of, you know, vintage and mostly antique postcards for fairly reasonable. And that booth, it was kind of like a artisan's emporium with different booths from different vendors. That particular booth did not have any more, but I found a few at other booths, and that was kind of fun. So this one, until I go to put it in the journal, I'm going to call it done, but I'll stitch around the edge. Not sure if I'm going to stitch around the edge of this or this and make it messy, or both. Maybe once from one side and once from the other side. I kind of like that idea. So we'll let that dry. But there's another one for a current project. As far as the postcards, some of them are not great. These are the ones I just picked up, and I do have some other vintage ones somewhere, but somewhere being the operative word. They're in this room somewhere. But there were a lot of Christmas ones this time of year. This one is neat. I love the ones that have writing. This one was from 1912, so definitely an antique one. Like I paid like $2 for that one. And this one, these are in sleeves. That one's so pretty. Greetings, Christmas, Xmas. The arrow, it's just gorgeous. That one's not written on. I paid like $1 for that one. But that'll be really neat. And this one might actually go into that purple journal. I do like tucking them in there. This one's from Portland, Oregon. And there's no date anywhere on it. It was $1, but I live in Oregon, so I thought that was fun. Oh, and this first one that was written on, that one's also Sherwood, Oregon. So yeah, it makes sense. You get postcards from the state you live in often. Another Christmas one that was $1. This one was so cool. And it looks like this is actually glued on to this one. And I don't know if that, you know, if the original sender did that, but it was in 1919. And I believe it's in a different language for sure. And I want to say maybe German, but I'm not positive. But I paid only $1 for it. And it was so pretty. Oops. Maybe someone knows German better than I do, which doesn't take much to know German better than I only have a few words of German because my kids studied it in high school. But, and then this one was just fun. And it says, I think it says 1986 is when it was printed by Dover Publishing. But it's Rita Hayworth. No, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. My bad. So that one was fun. And I picked up these two that are not technically postcards, but you know, you could make them into postcards. But I have a anatomy kind of Halloweenish book that I started this year that I'll probably end up putting those into. And there were a bunch of different ones. I may go back. They were only 75 cents a piece, so that's kind of fun. These were my duplicates I thought about doing something with, but they're very colorful and shiny and newer, and I don't have a plan yet, so they're just going to stay in my stash. We've got Germany and Montana, the UK. Some of these are really cool. Ireland, and my partner and I actually went to Ireland in 2017. So some of these are going to be fun when I eventually make my Ireland journal. Alaska. My son's in Alaska, so those were really cool, and they're neat artistic ones. Stratford-on-Avon, Holland, Kauai. These ones are kind of neat. They remind me maybe the 60s. I don't know, but they have the fun edge on them. San Francisco. I actually popped one of these into the Anne Rice journal I did. Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, Virginia. And then these are all like this. University of Mississippi, Oxford. But these ones I kind of wanted to show and tell because there's some really gorgeous ones, and the reason I got so emotional. Let's share those real quick. Whoop. No words needed. It says August 1961 in Berlin. The child wants to cross. The guard has orders to let nobody pass. Nevertheless, he opens the barbed wire. At this moment in the photo, his superior sees what is happening. Because of his acting contrary to the command, he was immediately detached. And that's just cool. Such lovely construction in Germany. Like, the architecture's really fun. And the water wheel. Salzburg. Reminds me of Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. There's a fountain and it looks like a castle to me, like, especially up on the hill. And then I don't know if that's a religious building. I don't know. Does it have English? You can see on some of these they were in somebody's like those, they called them magnetic photo albums, but they were actually like that low tack sticky stuff, and then they had the clear sheet that went over. And then they told us sometime in the like early to mid 90s that those were not acid free and they would end up ruining our pictures. You can see the lines like we're in those books on here. Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to attempt the German pronunciation. And this one's cool. Yeah, a little bit more modern. Der Bodensee. I'm not very good at. The Lake of Constance is about, let's see if I've got even frame here, 1,300 feet above sea level. Total surface is about 208 square miles. Coastline about 162 miles. Anyway, just a lot of details there. It doesn't say anything else. It's the same. Same place. So pretty. Absolutely beautiful. Someday I'll do a journal of castles. Maybe these will find their way in there. Or maybe I'll visit Germany someday and be able to put some of these in there. Munich. Berlin. There's another emotional one there. See the wall. And this was West Berlin. Back when there was East and West Germany. And there's the wall again. Yeah. So, anyway. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings after seeing those, and I had to go get a coffee and go shopping. Like we do, right? All right. Back to the stash with these for now. And I thought maybe we would make at least one tiny envelope. These. That one's so pretty. I love that. See, that one was supposed to be for the purple journal, but I kind of went nuts on the other side. So it could be covered with writing paper on that side. And then maybe that side could have some tiny little envelopes. So I got ink everywhere when I was doing that. So how I made them is I just folded them up. I think this, oh, maybe that should be the flap. So that it's, let's make this a little thicker. Make sure we get it up to around there. Okay. Hopefully I didn't get any strange words on there that we don't want. I'm going to add some glue. Actually, I might use Fabrifix for this part because it dries a lot faster. And it doesn't soak the paper, so you don't end up working with soggy paper, especially when it's really fragile like this. Okay, let's fold that up. Then just to reinforce this edge here. And once that's dry, if we want to, we could do a notch punch. I have my little notch and corner punch that I got with my little envelope scoreboard. But we will give it a minute to dry first. And then we could leave the flap like that. Let's see. Complain that, that's maybe not so bad. It's not so bad. Okay. Ink. Let's see, should we do black or shaded lilac? I don't know about shaded lilac on here. It might be too light, too bright. We'll do black, just to be be a little different here. Actually, I have quite a bit of black in that journal, so this will be good actually. We might want to reinforce this a little bit too. It's pretty fragile paper. Let's see what we can do to reinforce it. Oh, here we go. I have more scrap of the book page. Washi tape would work too, actually. It might be a little less conducive to folding, depending on how thick the washi tape is. But I think this would be okay. I'm just gonna tear it. Maybe. No. Trim. There we go. Did I even put it in the right spot? Yep. There it is. And this is wherever I threw it. Distress Ink Black Soot from Ranger and Tim Holtz. Let's ink both sides there. That's pretty cute. Okay. Let's attempt to get this in the middle this time. I'm really bad at getting it in the middle. That's why the ones on the other one are so, like, some of them are way over to the one side or the other. Oh, that's not bad at all. Look at that. Nearly in the middle. Okay. Oops. One more place to ink. I'm going to put the tiniest bit of glue at the bottom just so that things don't pop right out the bottom. Oh, come on. Okay. And then up here and up here. Okay. A little bit too much right there. There's a cute, grungy, wonky little envelope. I like the torn flap on that one. It's really cute. And then I found these stamps in my stash. Speaking of tiny letters, they're for St. Patrick's Day, and I thrifted them. They were 2009 Hot Fudge Studio, designed for Studio G, distributed by Hampton Art. So, yeah, I don't know. But they're, some of them say Happy St. Patrick's Day, but one of them actually had, like, script. And I thought that was really cute. Is that going to fit in there? I think it might. So what if we kind of fussy cut, or, yeah, maybe fussy cut. Get better scissors for that. There we go. This could, I mean, you could make a whole bunch of the envelopes and then not stuff them or decorate them until you were ready to add them to a journal. And then you just have a stash of envelopes for adding to things. Louisa did some tiny letters when she did the Poppyfield Avenue videos in her journal. And those are really cool. If you have not seen those, you should go watch them. Okay. I'm not going to try to get that close to that. Not at this moment, anyway. Kind of kiss cut around there. That's just cute. We're gonna make it go in. There we go. Just enough. And when I glue these on to the tag or wherever I'm going to be gluing them on, I usually only glue right in the middle. That way the sides are more free, so that it can actually open a little bit, you know, to get things in and out. Or if you glue the sides down, it puts that tension all the way across the front, so you can't get things in and out of it quite as easily. But there's one of those. And it's late in the evening now, so I'm going to call that good. But I had fun, and this has been a lot of fun, the whole Dephemerember. And it's pretty low pressure this year, and well, it's always low pressure, really. It's not intended to be pressureful. But, is that a word? You're not intended to feel pressure, you're intended to have fun. So, anyway. Yeah, life is busy, as it is for most people, and this is just, it's a fun time to relax and do something different. So until next time, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.